This year, India hosted Milan 2024, its largest ever joint maritime exercise with over 50 countries participating, including the United States, Japan, Australia, France, South Korea, Vietnam, Malaysia, Russia and Iran. In Hindi, Milan means meeting. India describes the exercise as a gathering of friendly navies involving friendly foreign countries. Sana, let me ask you first. So what was the objective of this year's drills?
India has been conducting Milan for over 2 decades now, and it benefits all the countries involved in the exercise. It advances the interoperability of all the countries. But if I may just talk about what are the benefits for India. India is the 8th largest naval power in the world. But since the competition between India and China has started, what we are also seeing that India is trying to be the security provider for the region. And India has a lot of naval exercises with a number of countries, and India is also heading exercises such as Milan as well as Malabar, which is now a de facto quad exercise. So it's established now that India is an effective counterbalance to China. And when it comes to Indian Ocean is a geopolitical theater where we are seeing a lot of competition between, not just between India and China, but also between US and China. So what India has been trying to do is to strengthen its leadership role within the Indian Ocean region, but you also have Russia and Iran. So I don't think that any other country apart from India could do such a thing.
Yeah, it's quite unique gathering of countries there. Right, let's just quickly talk about the unfriendliness of what China is doing. So in the very opening, I mentioned the Djibouti naval base as well as Sri Lankan port. Obviously the fear, especially with Sri Lanka, was that, because the Chinese company, state-run company, is going to take 80% of ownership and, of course, the lease of this to China.
If you see China's presence over the Indian Ocean, in Djibouti, then in Gwadar port in Pakistan, then in Sri Lanka. So this is kind of the strategy, what a lot of Western scholars and Indian scholars try to see from the strategy, what we know as a string of pearls, right? So it's trying to expand its influence. So currently they have around 20 to 25 ports, which is administrated by China or has certain administration over it. So which gives a point of thing, a threat for India in the future that might be converted into a military purpose in the long run. So that is very obvious for India to feel a bit of security dilemma coming out from this. So overall, I think...
But at the moment, what evidence is there? So the people who are not on the US side, and allies, will say, what evidence do you have there? I mean, at the moment, it seems that, and maybe I can address this to Sana, that Hambantota port is becoming a very successful transshipment hub because of its location.
No, I think it's definitely a very, very grave security concern for India. And it's just not about India-China differences that India is now playing an assertive role. It's also how China's footprint in India's neighborhood as well as in the Indian Ocean region are increasing, and India has to respond to that. And we saw how, due to the debt trap, the Belt and Road Initiative and Sri Lanka's involvement, that Sri Lanka had to give Hambantota port to China for over 99 years. So imagine the kind of security threat that India is facing from China's presence in its own neighborhood. So Hambantota port definitely serves dual purpose. It's just not about shipment. It's just not about China having benign objectives. It's also about use of Hambantota for military purposes.
But what evidence is there of that? I just want to clarify. It'd be great to...
No, we are also seeing that the spy vessels have been docked at Hambantota port. So I think there are satellite imageries, and also there are tangible evidences of what China has been doing. Look at China's military presence that have been expanded in Sri Lanka and the wider Indian Ocean region. And this is one of the reasons why not just India, even the US is concerned about China's footprint in South Asia as well as the Indian Ocean region.